So, the purpose to this show, the Mindset and Self Mastery Show, is for us to be able to heal and be able to better manage our mindset and to be able to find our own sense and purpose within our self mastery. Self mastery is basically just discipline and being disciplined in different ways and not being restrictive. However, things have changed a bit. Hey, welcome to another episode of the Mindset and Self Mastery Show. But this episode's going to be a bit different because things have changed and kind of makes sense that things change. It's like an evolution in a sense. So over the past, by the time you hear this, maybe 75, 80 episodes that have come out, I've learned a lot. I've had a lot of great conversations with some great people. We've gotten really deep, and we've helped people heal through their traumas and process through different things. There were many guests that had said, "Well, I didn't expect to get into that sort of conversation." And there were many comments and messages I've gotten from people that said thank you for having different people on the show or to talk about different things and really having deep, tough fucking conversations that a lot of people have a hard time talking about. So the purpose to this show, the Mindset and Self Mastery Show, is for us to be able to heal and be able to better manage our mindset and to be able to find our own sense and purpose within our self mastery. Self mastery is basically just discipline and being disciplined in different ways and not being restrictive. However, things have changed a bit. So going forward, it's no longer going to just be guests that show up on these episodes. A lot of these are going to be solo episodes. Now, some of you might hear that and go, well, fuck this, I'm out of here. I primarily do this because I want to hear the guests. If that's the case, see ya. Enjoy your time away. Maybe pop back every so often when we have guests on the show. For those of you that are like, awesome, I want to hear more of you, great. That's what you're going to get. There's going to be a lot more that I'm going to get into because things have changed over the past several months. I've actually been thinking for the past maybe 6 months or so that something has to change with the podcast and didn't exactly know what, how, or even why. Just knew inside of me that there were things that needed to change. I also knew that there were things that needed to change within me personally. So I'm just going to get the cat out of the bag here. Some big things have happened recently. I left corporate America. I'm an entrepreneur, so I'm just totally unemployable at this point. I even told the company I was with, several of the C-suite people and directors that I had meetings with before I left, and even HR as I was leaving my exit interview, I told them I'm totally unemployable at this point. Because as an entrepreneur, I've tried it. I've tried getting jobs. I tried having jobs. Hell, the job I was just in last year, we had the best year we've ever had in that division. And when I did the math of how much we grew over the course of my about 5 years there, we grew close to 300% in just revenue and about 800% in clients. And that was all primarily from the one dude that was out doing this stuff, this guy. But I don't say that to stroke my ego. I know that it was a fact. But I wanted it to stroke my ego for the longest time because I felt like if I could have that love that came from those accolades and the feeling of building something, working for somebody else, but still building it sort of like a small business, then that would scratch the entrepreneurial itch. And I was fucking wrong. Totally fucking wrong. And when I left the company about a month and a half, 2 months ago at this point, I felt like it was the right move to make. I've been feeling that needed to happen for months though. And I trust my intuition and I trust my gut to move me, and it didn't tell me when I was going to actually leave. And some of that was really frustrating because I could feel like there was something needs to happen. And at one point I was totally disrespected. And it kind of just clicked in me. It was like, oh, that's it. That's when we exit. And from there, started to make the trek to be able to get out, but still didn't fully know when I was supposed to leave and what that was supposed to look like. And then one morning, when I woke up, I think I went to the gym, got a shower, And while I was in the shower, I heard, today's the day. This is when you're leaving. It's like, oh, all right. Well, I have a meeting with so-and-so and so-and-so. That would be a weird thing to bring it up at that point. But I got a call from my boss. Maybe 2-3 hours later, it was like, I feel like something's not right and that you're not feeling good right now. It's like, you're totally right. Here are my 2 weeks. And that was that. In fact, I got about all the way through my week, my 1 week of the 2 weeks. And they told me, you no longer need to be here. You're totally good to go. And I realized at that point that I was dead to them, like totally dead to them. It's like, interesting. I'd given them about 5 years. And I told them when I started that, yeah, I want to be able to work with a company and not have to deal with all the craziness that I dealt with in my own company before that, because honestly, at that point, I was just fucked up. I was abused, I was bruised, I was beaten. I was just unsure what exactly to do next, but I knew when I made that decision 5.5 years ago or whatever, to leave my own company, that some of that came from the relationship I was in at the moment, trying to appease my wife at the time with stability and security because we were only taking what we needed for our own business. But it was also something that was for my own mental health. If you listen to episode 10, I get into some of that. In fact, that was the last solo episode that I've done, which is pretty interesting because there's a whole lot more of these solo episodes coming up. But when I left my own company, my mental health needed it. My overall health, my spiritual health, my physical health needed it. I was suicidal for months because I figured I didn't know how to get out of the company I built, didn't know what to do, didn't know how to make anything better, and felt it was probably just easier just to end it all. And that's not right. And if you feel that way, please talk to somebody. There's definitely a way out of it. There are definitely things that can be done differently. So I remember leaving that company, spending a little bit of time, about 2-3 months, to be able to get my shit together. I created a reset program. It's like hitting a reset button because that's what I needed to do. I needed to hit the reset button and figure out what was actually happening, what was stopping me, and what I want to do moving forward and how the future version of me does that. And then being able to put those things into place. I stepped into some of that when I jumped into the job that I was in and had a great career with them, but really only had about 2 years of like, go get 'em sort of attitude. Because what I do at times, and I know this is part of what my winning strategy is to be able to figure out the ways that I can be safe and I can be loved and I can be irreplaceable. And I can figure things out. So getting into a job with a company, it's like, well, we want to build up this division and we don't have anybody to do it. So go ahead and go do it. I needed to figure all that out. I became irreplaceable. And I became noteworthy in that sense and felt some sort of love or at least admiration for it. But I didn't get what I thought that I wanted. I thought I wanted accolades and I thought I wanted the money that came along with it. But I remember when I left my company and 3 months later with the new company or the new job that I was working at, I tripled my income. But it didn't fulfill me. It didn't make me want to do anything outside of just, all right, here's another project. I like projects. I like puzzles and problems and like to figure stuff out, but it wasn't purposeful and didn't really make me want to do anything different. So I sunk some time into that, and about right around when COVID hit, I was having a hard time because I knew it's not what I want to do, and I know I need to get out of this. I also needed to get out of a marriage that I was in. Again, listen to episode 10 because a lot more of this is in there. But that was the start to, what do I really want? What do I feel inside of me? What are the things that I've been pushing off that I should never push off ever again? And what are the stories I've been telling myself that has been holding me back from doing the things that feel right? And what are the things that I need to stop doing? So I went through the course of that year of 2020. In 21, I got a divorce. And in 22, I started the podcast. And I sunk everything I could into all of that, into the podcast, into the company I was with, and again, had the best year that we ever had, and they gave me a little more than an attaboy. And we made the most money we've ever made in that division. And I made more money than I made in the past 15 years. And it didn't do a fucking thing for me at all. Didn't make me feel better. Didn't help me sleep better. It didn't help me wake up and go, you know what? I can't fucking wait to get into this day. Now, as an entrepreneur or as somebody who works at a job, not every single day that we wake up, we're going to say, today is an incredible day and I'm going to do these incredible things. And if that's part of the affirmation bullshit that you feed yourself, ask yourself why and really dig into that. Because not every single day is going to be sunshine and rainbows. But it's how we manage our mindset and what we do with it throughout the day without dissociating from it and without bypassing the feelings. And I knew that. And I knew that I needed to actually feel these feelings. So when I left the company that I was with recently, back in March, I knew that it was the right call to make. I trusted my intuition. It led me to that. And I felt like this is the time to be able to go. As an entrepreneur, I started another company, and I have my partner that I'm with, and we have our company that's a purpose-driven company. It's literally the future of life purpose development. And what we're doing is we're really helping people work through their processes of what they've gone through in life, the traumas that they've gone through, heal all of that, and figure out what their purpose is in life. And we have an agency that goes along with it. So I'm actually taking a little bit of a step back into what I'd done years ago with digital marketing, web development, SEO, etc. But we're doing things different, and that starts with us. So if you follow me on social media, you'll notice a lot less of me on social media, a whole lot less. In fact, I've already started to deactivate some accounts because there's so much fucking noise within social media, and it's not useful at this point. And I know, sort of a joke, but marketers fuck everything up. They fuck up all the new spaces that come out and all the social media and all of that. And I'm just no longer going to be a part of that machine. And this show will no longer be a part of that machine. For those of you that want to hear more of the stories that I go through and more of the learning, growing, and healing that I go through and the things that I feel are deeply important to be able to get out to people like yourself and people that are like you and I, then please stick around. Stay on board with me. I'm not going to completely stop doing the guest appearances. I'm going to have guests on every so often, but I'm going to be very picky about the guests that come on. And it's probably going to only be once a month that some guest is on. And we're going to get into really deep topics. So I've learned a lot over the 75, 80 episodes or so. And I've learned and seen a lot of different patterns and what a lot of people talk about and what a lot of people go through. And we're going to dive deeper into all of those things. And if you feel like I'm making a bad decision, all right. Others have before. If you feel like I'm making a great decision, all right. Others have before. None of it really matters to me. I really don't care because I feel like this is the thing that I need to do. I would really appreciate you sticking around. I would love for you to be able to learn from what I bring to the table and from all the experiences that I have and all the experiences of the people that do come onto this show. But if you feel like this is your time to be able to step off, then I appreciate you spending the time that you did. If you feel like this is the time for you to lean in with me, then please do. And like I said, you're not going to see me on social media, but you will be able to reach me at nick@nickmcgowan.com. And if you have questions about anything that I'm doing with the show, suggestions, or anything about being able to lean deeper into your purpose and what you feel you're called to do in life, then please send me a message. But this is mainly an update episode. That's what this really is. This is just an update of, hey, a lot of things have changed. No longer in corporate America. I've dug deeper into what my purpose is. I'm fully back into entrepreneurism. Actually moved as well. My partner and I live clear across the country from where I was before, and really absolutely loving everything that's happening right now. This season for me is for me to actually pull off the fucking bandage, talk about the things that are truly important, the things that I feel called to talk about, and the things that I feel are my purpose to be able to talk about and to do. And again, I appreciate you being with me for the time that you have. And if you feel this is your time to no longer listen, have at it. If you feel it's time to listen and dive in, then please do. And if you feel called to be able to send me a message about it, great. If you want to send me hate mail, I guess you can. I'm just not going to fucking answer it or get back to you on it. But if it makes you feel good and you can sleep at night, then fucking have at it. Realistically, though, and from the bottom of my heart, I really do appreciate you being with me on this journey. And I am really excited about the things that are happening from this point on. So stay tuned. There's a lot more that's going to happen. There's a lot more depth that I'm going to get into on this show with myself and with the guests. And I really appreciate you spending the time with me. Thank you.